monthly forecast for the end of November going into December. I'm using the new moon chart as my forecast. I will post it as well, but just to have a look, this is what I'll be explaining. So the new moon will happen on November 26, 2019. It will be as close to exact as I could get it. Was Universal Time 1605, 405, SID time 308. It's pretty close. I have it here at 59 and 0 for 4 degrees of Sagittarius. So the way that I read new moon forecasts or monthly forecasts, lunar returns for Hooray Astrology, is to look at the ascendant first. The first thing I see with this chart is that Pluto, part of Fortune, and Saturn are all in a pretty tight conjunction between 24 degrees and 17 degrees, with the ascendant at 23 degrees Capricorn. This is a big deal. This is the birth of the ego death, and it's profitable. It's a good thing. We want this weight to come to surface. We've all been dealing with it since Pluto and Saturn started playing with each other this last year. We've all been feeling that. The structures, the rules, the things that we all think are true, the things that Saturn and Capricorn represent are all getting changed. They're all being different now. And they have been for some time. That's why there's, it's such a beautiful time when it comes to the rise of the feminine and the new wave of the divine feminine coming through. For a lot of people, the Pluto-Saturn conjunction really came to a halt and in your face in the summertime when we had the eclipses back in July. That was a hard one for every single person I know. But now is the time that we're really going to address these issues. We're going to have them come to the forefront. That's what this ascendant is about. And the reason I say that is because Pluto is on the ascendant. So this is a take notice kind of time. This isn't an ignorable time. Also, from the ascendant in the 12th house carries everything right up to Jupiter. So in order, it's part of Fortune, which is where we benefit, then the ascendant, which is where we should be paying attention, then Pluto. So Pluto's subconsciously sitting there, and that's where our ego goes to die. That is where our power comes from. That is where we have to let go of our respect for owning self and being self-empowered, and we need to really step into being humbled. Saturn has been with him, which has been implementing rules and society structures to change those feelings that we have for ourselves. And this is really going to come to a head. So again, all of that is sitting kind of in the 12th house. But what happens from the 12th house is that the South Node is there, which has been, with those two for a while. Ceres is actually between the South Node and Venus and Jupiter's conjunction. Venus will be at 0 degrees Capricorn. So this is a pretty big deal because she's entering the sign. So she's really here to bless and change everything that Saturn and Pluto have been going through in Capricorn for as long as they've been coming through. She and Jupiter are now conjuncting right at the beginning of the sign to really open us up to the new possibilities and the new way things are going. Jupiter's sitting in the 11th house, so this is going to be a profitable time for tribe. This is a growth of tribe thing. This is an acceptance thing. It's in Sagittarius. It's in its own sign. It's at the last couple degrees of its own sign. So it's really going to push forward a whole new type of growth, a structural growth that should solidify all those changes that we've been making. In the 10th house is where we find the new moon itself. And that is at the beginning of Sagittarius. And Pallas is actually really close. Asteroid Pallas Athena, who represents strategy and looking at a detached way to look at the big picture and see where you should, move your armies. It's a strategy energy that we all have. She's trining Chiron from the 2nd house in Aries, which is retrograde, with the new moon. Venus will be at 0 degrees. Mars will be at 4 degrees. The sun and moon are at 4 degrees. Chiron's at 1 degrees. Uranus, also going backwards, like Chiron, is at 3 degrees. And Ceres, like I said, is at 4. Pallas is at 7, and Juno's at 7. So this really is about building the initial feminine strategy. So in the second house, it's interesting because sextiling, which is a positive, progressive, encouraging energy from one planet to another, Neptune in Pisces during retrograde is sextiling this Pluto ascendant. So it's really about undoing the truths that we know and breaking boundaries that we've set up before. That is also sextiling Vesta in Taurus, right at the IC of the chart. So at the root of the chart is nurturing, feminine energy. It's about that beautiful fertility that we all have inside of us. Not so much making babies, but the fertile mind and the fertile soul. That's at the bottom of the chart, also going retrograde. And Vesta's been there for a while, trying to remind us that we really have to take care of our own Mother Earth inside of us, as well as the one outside of us. So that's really, really going to see that. I also see that in the 6th house is the North Node in Cancer. This is only got one strong aspect to it. Now I have my orb at 55 because I don't like to see too much on there. I just like to see what's really strong for energies. And for an orb at 55 is pretty strong. She's squaring Juno in Libra. So Juno in Libra is an 8. That is definitely about the feminine change, the move in the feminine change. The way we devote ourselves is different. And the node in Cancer, also a feminine sign representing mother, really talks about, especially in the 6th house, really talks about how we serve outside of ourselves, how we serve our children, how we serve our families, how we serve our futures. And that's trining Juno in Libra, which is all about partnership and being the best partner. So it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a change and an adjustment to learn how to utilize that craving. We all have to take care of our own nature, our own mother nature outside, and still be devoted to our partnerships and our legal bindings and our domestic place. 9th house has Mars at 4 degrees. Again, that is a perfect sextile to the new moon. So this is a big deal. Mars, masculine, aggressive, motivating, inspiring, disruptive power. That is a highlight with this new moon. So December is very much going to be about empowering self and using that Mars energy in a new way, where you utilize your soul path as well as your emotional intelligence. And like I said, Pallas is with the new moon. So this is a strategy thing. She's actually ahead of the new moon by 3 degrees. So she's already kind of laid the seeds and planted the seeds for the new moon to pick up and start to grow. The MC is in Scorpio. I have this set for Toronto, Ontario, because that's where my birthplace is. But Lilith is also conjuncting in a wide orb to the MC. So it's about chaos and change. She's what's standing in between, like the asteroid Lilith is what's standing in between the MC, which is conjunct Mercury in Scorpio, and the new moon. She's sitting at 27 degrees, which is next to Jupiter, the second highest placement in this chart. Jupiter being the highest in the 11th house. It's trining the vertex in the 7th house at the regal king star. So that really, really talks about the partnership change that's going to take effect. It's going to be how we deal with our inner partnerships, how we deal with our femininity, and how we serve it to ourselves and to the people around us. Again, Uranus is in the 3rd house going retrograde. This is where we isolate ourselves. This is where we're independent and have brilliant energies and ideals. But in the 3rd house is underlining communications. And it's retrograde. At 3 degrees, there is a very strong energy that is opposing Mars almost exactly. That's pretty harsh. So we're going to have a battle of wills. There will definitely be a advancement in empowerment, and it's going to come from a my way, me and mine understanding. When Uranus and Mars face off with each other, we get a very hot, very aggressive and isolating energy. And it can be put to good use and it can be put to bad use, but it's in the 3rd and the 9th house. So that's about communication, maybe legislator too. And I say that because it's in Scorpio. So Mars in Scorpio, there is dignified energy there. Mars is strong here, and it is affecting Venus in a sextile. So there is a Mars and Venus merger of energy from the 12th and the 9th house, which are the houses of higher education and higher understanding and adult understanding and spirituality, and the 12th house being the house of undoing, the house of spiritualness, addictions, and surreal energies. So having those two trine from there, it's very philosophical energy, very, very spiritual energy, passionate energy. Jupiter entering Capricorn, sitting in the 11th house, there is definitely going to be gains. It trines the vertex properly, so like exactly at 28 degrees, I would say having Jupiter trine the vertex, there is a encouragement to see change and a growth that will come with immediate flip of the script. And especially sitting on the King Star, with the vertex sitting on the King Star, there is a big notable change of power. Again, this has been a new moon November forecast for November 26, 2019. I recorded this on November 12th, 2019, and I will be checking in after I post it to see how well we did. Thanks for everyone for tuning in, and I hope to hear from you soon.